Welcome to KJ and Tony Move to France. In today's video, we're sharing with you the magnificent Chateau de Versailles.
And it is freezing.
It is so cold, so this video is probably going to be shaking a little bit because I am shivering so much. But let's share what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to be sharing about
10 little known facts about the Palace of Versailles.
Yes, so we hope that you enjoy it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm freezing. So let's go. Let's go.
Welcome to Chateau de Versailles, more commonly known as the Versailles Palace. This world-renowned chateau is one of the most excessively visited monuments on the planet, hosting nearly 10 million visitors each year, with over 30,000 tourists entering through the gates on a typical high-season day. The palace was commissioned by Louis XIV in 1661 and took 40 years to complete. The palace has a rich history with several royal rulers and a host of fascinating facts that build an even richer picture of the palace. Today, we're sharing 10 of those lesser-known fascinating facts about the Palace of Versailles. Number 1. Believe it or not, the Palace of Versailles had fairly humble beginnings. The land was originally purchased by Louis XIII, who bought the land because he loved hunting and built a chateau as a hunting lodge. He ultimately expanded the chateau and bought more land, which led the way for Louis XIV to turn Versailles into a palace. Louis XIV even moved the French government and its court there in 1682. At one point, the palace housed over 5,000 people. Number 2. The smell of the gardens was so strong it actually made visitors ill. The spectacular garden contains 372 statues, 55 water features, 600 fountains, and over 20 miles of water pipes. Hundreds of thousands of plants and trees have been planted in the garden, and while this makes the garden look amazing, back in the 17th century, the fragrance from these blooms in Trianon was so overpowering it made guests feel ill. Number 3. Construction on the Hall of Mirrors began in 1678 and became one of the most remarkable features of the palace with its 357 mirrors. What many people are not aware of is that at that time, Venice had the monopoly on making mirrors. And while France managed to entice some Venetian mirror makers to come over and create mirrors especially for the palace, legend has it that in order to keep its monopoly and prevent the craftsmen from giving away their secrets, the Venetian government ultimately forbade them to leave the city under penalty of death. Number 4. The Treaty of Versailles was signed in the Hall of Mirrors. This treaty was the most important of the peace treaties in that it brought World War I to a close, ending the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. It was signed on June 28, 1919. Number 5. The palace at one time housed several menageries of animals, filled with all kinds of wild animals and birds from all over the world. It was the first place to divide animal species into separate and specially adapted enclosures. This model and approach was soon adopted throughout Europe and would eventually come to be known as what we now call zoos. The palace menagerie was ultimately moved to Jardin des Plantes, where it still exists today. Number 6. The palace also played a crucial role in scientific research. Louis XV and Louis XVI were passionate about science, and with the menagerie on the grounds, zoological studies flourished and later led to the creation of veterinary schools. Well, we have 4 more little-known facts about the palace to go. But first, it's time to take a break for lunch at a restaurant that's become my own personal favorite, Le Petit Bouillon. It looks like Tony's ready to go.
Right, this is the line that we're in right now for
Le Petit Bouillon.
Bouillon. And it is really a wonderful restaurant. We lucked out the very first time we came here. There was no line, but we've been back since and didn't wait last time, but we're
We'll wait this time.
going to stick it out today. So I can give you a peek inside, especially of they have this appetizer that's like your own little fondue that you have to yourself.
Here comes my ride.
All right, let's go check it out.
And now that we've had our lunch, let's get back to our facts about the palace. Number 7. Speaking of food, the king ate cold meals as the kitchen was too far from his dining room. Eventually, Louis XV in the 18th century had private kitchens built in his private apartments. Number 8. Marie Antoinette had a private romantic hideaway on the grounds. She used this residence as her own personal retreat, and it included a theater as well as a site known as the Temple of Love, consisting of a round colonnade centered with a statue of Cupid. Number 9. The Royal Gate, completely covered in gold, was destroyed during the French Revolution. The luxury and opulence of the palace ultimately led the people of France to detest Versailles. In particular, Marie Antoinette was loathed for her lavish lifestyle and extravagance. The gate was recreated in 2008 and is decorated with 100,000 gold leaves. And finally, my personal favorite, number 10, hot chocolate was the drink of choice. This cocoa drink was a delicacy back then and was thought of as an exotic choice for the royals. At the time, chocolate was thought to be an aphrodisiac. So of course, the king gave many a cup to his visiting mistresses, even sometimes making a batch himself. For a king to do such a mundane task was unheard of at the time. Even Marie Antoinette had a penchant for hot chocolate. In 1770, when she married Louis XVI, he was given the title Chocolate Maker to the Queen.
Well, that's it for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it.
And if you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe.
And we'll be back again next week for another adventure from France.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.